Hello, I'm John Robert, and you are watching The Music Enthusiast.
Hi, I'm Sarah from The Music Enthusiast, and today I'm joined by John Robert, who's releasing Healthy Baby Boy Part 1 very soon. How are you?
Uh, Doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's not so nice outside, but I'm so glad to be talking to you. It's making my day so much better.
Right on. Oh, where are you located at the moment?
Montreal. It's like rain.
Montreal?
Yeah.
Rad. Sick. Yeah, I'm in LA, so it's constantly beautiful. Can't really complain.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine.
But yeah.
So, a great starting point these days is how have you been holding up with everything happening in the world right now?
Um, the biggest COVID affected me in a large way just because it shut down touring completely, and that was something I'm super stoked about, and that's my favorite way to meet people.
Yeah.
Especially when they really connect with the lyric and you just start talking with them and you've already bypassed small talk. So that's my favorite thing. But other than that, more of an isolationist, and I spent a lot of time by myself in my room with my laptop. So uh, I've been practicing. I've been prepping for quarantine since I was 16. Um, but yeah, I've been holding up all right. Just starting to pick up other hobbies to help with the mental health.
Yeah, definitely. Have you been making more music? Have you found that you've been making more music during this time?
I went through a depression, and then you don't get incredibly creative when you're depressed. I'm starting to pull myself out of it. But constantly making music, it's not something that goes away. It makes me physically ill if I haven't written a song in a while. Um, but yeah, I've still managed to get things going, and it's a different workflow with people nowadays with COVID. So you send stems to each other, and you send references. But yeah, I've still been making things here and there.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm so glad you're starting to feel better again. So,
Yeah, I got a good situation, so I can't be too ungrateful.
yeah, definitely. Now on to this project. You've been trying new things. First off, you learned how to pole dance. You like you've taken aerial lessons, the leather suit, like you've been doing tons of things. So, what's been the trickiest thing you've learned?
Um, the trickiest or the most bizarre? Because if it was the most bizarre, I didn't know you had to lube up your legs when you slip on latex pants. Um, so that was new. Learned a lot through making that music video, and discovered I'm fairly all right at pole dancing. I think out of everything I tried roller skating, aerial dancing, and ballet. Pole dancing, pole dancing's the one. And I mainly did all those things to promote a song I have called "Rock Back and Forth."
Mhm.
But also, I don't feel comfortable in my own skin, and I thought that would be a nice way to step outside of, you know, get a little outside of my shell and kind of like expand my comfort level or step out of it a little bit. And it was incredibly rewarding. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
definitely. Like I can't speak for everyone, but it made watching like the music videos made me like want to do more things. What made me want to like
Well,
more into it.
I've just started to learn because I spent a lot of time by myself, and if I wanted music to start feeling more like a hobby and more of some like a facet of myself as opposed to something that owns me and consumes me. And so by learning all these different things, I feel it's made me a better musician, and also I've just had a big lust for life and really want to get involved with the community and learn new things. So like recently I went to the protest for Echo Park, which was incredibly eye opening, and I'll leave it there. And what else? Oh, I went to this like UFO spotting thing in the park.
That's
So
so
these
cool.
Bro, a bunch of you don't even know. Like they're like they were showing me pictures and they're like, this is my picture of the perfect orb. Or like there's jellyfish in the sky, or the aliens are like chameleons or stick bugs or octopuses. They just they blend into the sky, but they have little tails. And if it looks like a balloon, I that one's kind of like that next point was kind of so. But seeing people's convictions and seeing people enjoy simple pleasures, it's been that's really what's been helping me out as of late.
Speaking of your music videos, like
Oh
I
yeah, we can get yeah, we're back to that. Sorry.
no problem. I loved it. um, your music videos are, I think they're cinematically insane. Like not only like this project, but like Adeline and like your older stuff. Like, wow, how do you come up with all these ideas?
Well, my I think Adeline was my first idea. And you just like I was saying, if you're like a well-rounded person, you're a better creative. And so I don't know how I came up with the water tank actually. I just remember talking to my mom. And I was like, yeah, with this music video, I want to get a big water tank and I want it to fill up and the line to be like right over here so it adds tension to the song and also the location to be ambiguous and dark and glooming. And she was like, all right, like get real. And then I work with this recording company called Nice Life, and the head of it is this guy Ricky Reed, who plucked me out of my basement. They made it happen. So I don't know, the ideas just kind of come, and I've started to get better at really backing my own ideas. So like things that I find would be really cool and funny. And with the Dan Bean video specifically, I just wanted to see how much creative control I had, which I'm happy to say plenty. Um, and yeah, sorry.
Awesome. um, and speaking of Ricky Reed, you've worked with him for a while now. So one like bouncing on ideas off of each other, does he sometimes like surprises you with what he comes up with?
Oh, certainly, but the best quality about Ricky is he doesn't force sonics on you. He is very good at polishing up what's already there, or he sees your intention and he gets you to where you wanted to go, because he's a creative genius and a mad scientist when it comes to music production and creating new sounds or manipulating instruments or whatever. That and also I should mention this guy Nate Mercero. He has some really good like jazz fusion stuff out right now. Joy Techniques, I believe it's called. And he really surprises me. Like the ending of uh, Rock Back and Forth with the textural sounds and some of the synth work. Um, Incredibly impressive. And Ricky's drums and bass. I I've learned to anticipate to be surprised by Ricky and pleasantly surprised. You know.
And speaking about Healthy Baby Boy again, it's being released very soon. How are you feeling? I heard it like an advanced streaming link, and I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. How do I feel about it? It's gonna be a relief to put it out because it felt like the best kept secret. And someone handed me this quote that I always really enjoyed and said, "Once you put out music, it's no longer yours." And so it's I still I don't entirely get it or I just can't believe how people interact with things that popped out of my head. Whether they cover it or they make a video to it, and like, oh, this actually has like I make music first off for myself. And so it's crazy to me that like I would do this regardless, and it's crazy to me that um how kind people are with interacting with the songs and how they connect with it. And I get super specific DMs, especially with a song like Adeline. So it makes me want to pursue truth in music, and it makes me want to be more vulnerable in my tunes, just so that there's a stronger connection with people who might dig my stuff. So I'm really excited for this to finally be out, and also to put out more music afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think it's absolutely beautiful. And the title has part one in it. So could we expect like more parts in the future?
Uh, Yeah, it does kind of feel like a layup to a second part, but I don't know. We'll play it by ear for
Awesome.
sure.
See how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, that's such a cop out answer, but thank you for accepting it.
Well, other than the singles that were released, there's two new ones. So, which song was the easiest and hardest to make out of all of them?
I would say "You Should Move On" was the hardest to make.
Mhm.
Just because I wrote it and then I thought there was a miscommunication between me and the label and Nice Life, the label, is a very good soundboard for me, and they tell me you have this feeling in your gut when you know that something feels wrong, and if you try and convince yourself that that one thing will work, if you realize you keep trying to convince yourself that it works, then you might as well just scrap it or rework it or whatever. They're very good at pointing out those little insecurities I have with my music, but I feel particularly lazy sometimes, and they call it out, and I was like, "Yeah, I felt that in my chest too." Um, but "You Should Move On" was difficult because I thought what was the chorus, I thought that was the verse and that I had to beat the verse with a catchier chorus, and so it drove me up the wall. Um, but, we've luckily, Ricky helped me figure it out, and he was a good guiding hand, and I think the easiest to write, it's between "Move It to the Side" and "Rock Back and Forth." Yeah, I think with "Move It to the Side," my friends when you write with no expectations, it's the best,
Mhm.
and there's no pressure on yourself to create something, and that's when you give yourself more room to experiment.
Yeah.
So my friends were coming over, and they, typically run late, so I thought I'd whip up a tune, and, Move It to the Side kinda came out, and I workshopped it later, but Rock Back and Forth, it was my 20th birthday, and I got kinda reflective and sad that I was another year older, um, and also I had to leave my partner at the time in 7 days to move back to LA when I spent was at the start of quarantine originally supposed to be 2 weeks, evolved into 2 months of staying with her in Virginia. And so that song kinda just flowed out, and it was really easy to write.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes even like the best song comes out of nowhere. Like you weren't expecting to make it at all, and then it just comes out of nowhere.
But here's the biggest trick is that, like, you gotta write all these shitty tunes or, am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, thank you. All these shitty tunes, and the good ideas kinda have a way of floating to the top, and then you write a tune that feels, like, effortless. But it didn't, like, necessarily come out of nowhere, it came as a result of all these ideas that you tried to incorporate in songs, or how I would put it is Quentin Tarantino said he saw his parts of his favorite movies in different movies, but he never saw one complete movie that was his favorite movie, and so that's the same thing with making a bunch of tunes is you see, like, little parts or something, or you make something and you save it in a preset, and you see all these little parts, and then one day it finally all comes together, and you write a song with all your favorite parts, and that's the one you feel confident putting out.
And I love that whole analogy. Like, your creative process is so cool. So, what usually comes first in the song? Do you think it's more like lyrics for you, melody, beat?
Well, it always comes from different places, whether I'm sifting through like sample packs or typically I like expanding my knowledge on chords and emulating some of my favorite artists or what I like about them. And typically I write the music first, then I do the top line, and I I I kind of like not scat the top line, but I say like I kind of mumble it, and the vowels kind of know where they want to fall in the melody, and then you have to craft the words around those vowels while also making sure that there's like internal rhyme or everything kind of it's one cohesive uh, thing lyrically throughout the entire tune. So it becomes this little puzzle. Um, and so that's typically more or less my process is learn something new, uh, try and make something out of it, do top line, and then mess around with some more little things like song structure or whatever.
this is sort of like a broad question and
Shoot.
yeah, okay. What does healthy baby boy mean to you?
Healthy Baby Boy. What's really cool about songs is they're kind of like almost like mementos, or they're memories, and you write something, and when you listen to it later, it takes you back to exactly where you were at. Um, and so this song it means personal growth in the sense of going from my childhood to becoming an adult and working in the music industry. That, and then also my the progress I'm trying to make with eliminating the way I distort reality based off of my insecurities, or not feeling feeling unworthy of love or not enough. And so it just kind of encapsulates themes of not feeling like enough, or like that is the someone you're seeing could be better with somebody else, and working a long distance relationship, and also the closing of a chapter and saying goodbye to your childhood, and gearing up for the future.
One more question about healthy baby boy. Um,
Absolutely.
I have been watching interviews with you on YouTube. So you spoke about how you experimented with your voice. So what was it like experimenting with both your chest and your head voice?
Oh, dude, it drove my parents up the wall, you know? Because Jeff Buckley was a big influence of mine, and his vocal elasticity. And then I hit a 21 Pilots phase real hard when I was in like early high school. And so I never heard anyone write such catchy tunes while also introducing like a little rap and screamo.
Mhm.
And so I got really obsessed with how to create that rasp, but in a safe way. And then there was an interview with Linkin Park where he described it as it's coming from your chest and less about singing from the throat. And also like singing, I had been through plenty of lessons, and it's a mixture of my teacher's teachings, and a mixture of trying to emulate again some of my favorite artists. I'm trying to think, there's one more example. I don't know. I just didn't realize how many ways you can manipulate your voice, and different tones, textures, and different little techniques, like or the way like Jimi Hendrix sings is really interesting. How it just kind of he kind of like throws away the tune, but he's the pitch, but he's still on pitch. I guess I don't know. It's a whole soapbox, but yeah, emulating my favorite artists and my teacher's teachings.
It's definitely worked out for the best because you did a great job, if I do say so myself.
I appreciate it, man. I hope so.
No problem. So I know that you love Swedish Fish. Obviously, it's in your Spotify bio, it's in your Instagram bio. So I decided to switch this question up just for you. If you could describe your music as a candy, which candy would it be and why? Swedish Fish.
I it's brand loyalty at this point. Uh, Thank you so much for doing research on me. It's always this has been a real pleasure. Um, Damn, I like prepped for this interview, and I went over like my talking points, and wanted to best explain how I came up with like Healthy Baby Boy and things I was feeling at the time. But this wasn't in that prep. Um, I guess for now I'd say Swedish Fish, just purely to say that I said it and lock down that sponsorship. And so I'm gonna have a whole fat ass book with every time I've mentioned Swedish Fish, and this is also gonna be in there.
I'm on-
So I hate to use this interview as a bargaining tool, but I hope you understand.
I do. Trust me. I'm honored. I hope like Swedish Fish like sponsors one of your tours one day. Like I feel like that would be sick or something.
That'd be that'd be pretty rad. Also, the thing with the Swedish Fish is, it felt more like an inside joke and started to become more of an inside joke, which I really enjoyed. And it was a sign that somebody did their research. So it was whenever I went into interviews, because it's like blatantly placed, like plastered everywhere. Um, So like I would go into an interview and they or I'd go into like meetings and they bring Swedish Fish and it was always a good tell and it's very considerable. And I was like, oh, they did their homework. So that's also what that inside joke brings.
Definitely. Like I was feeling like a sweet vibe for the candy, but
Hmm.
not really like a sour. But yeah, I like that. And last question, do you have any favorite up and coming artists at the moment?
I've been obsessed with this one song. So I went from folk to hyper pop to like 1930s like swing. Um, I really love one song by this artist named Father Koi, and it's called Dream Girl. I think that one's super sick. Um, and then it's not up and coming, but I really love this guy, Blaze Foley. But up and coming artists. Oh, duh. I should always give my friend a shout out. There's this kid named Junior Mesa, and he's my housemate, and he actually edited and directed the music video for Dan Bean. So every night we came together and we are like, "Hey, wouldn't this be funny?" And we storyboarded it out, and we did the budgeting for it, and we hired the crew, and we sourced the costumes. Um, so that kid is uber talented. He can do anything he wants to set his mind to, and his music is fantastic. I'm excited if you ever want to hear the unreleased stuff. And what is it? Losing my grip and all or nothing standout tunes. So I he gives me job insecurity. He's absolutely talented and a good friend of mine.
Well, I can't wait for the project to be released. I can't wait for you to blow up even more because I feel like you will really, really soon. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for doing your research and taking the time. And this is, um, yeah, this has been a good time. It's not even work at this point, you know.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.